moms were horrified by private Facebook groups preying on desperate parents looking to reverse autism by making them drink bleach. That's right, chlorine dioxide, what the FDA says amounts to industrial bleach. And of course, doctors warn is extremely dangerous for your kids. Melissa Eaton and Amanda Siegler took matters into their own hands. They became moles, pretending to be searching for a cure, but instead screenshot these parents and sent the report to Children's Services, the FDA, child abuse organizations, even the Department of Justice. They say they've reported about 100 parents since 2016. Often, they never hear back. But now tech companies have seen increased pressure to stop misinformation online. The Facebook, Amazons, and YouTubes of the world are taking down this kind of content. Still, these moms say the groups are vigilant. They're finding ways to pop back up and push the same dangerous promise that you can cure autism with incredibly dangerous and false tutorials. Yeah, giving your children bleach to cure their autism, such a dangerous idea being promoted, sold in some cases on several social media sites. So the mothers who exposed these pages, one joins me now, Melissa Eaton. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. I first want to start with why and how did you become this self-described mole?
Well, it started after my son's diagnosis. He was diagnosed as autistic when he was 5. He's 9 now. Like most parents, after diagnosis, I had questions, so I went to the internet to try to get these questions that I had answered, and I joined mainly autistic-led groups, and there I met a lady by the name of Emma Dalmain. She is an autistic advocate in the United Kingdom. She basically had been sharing things from these groups that were giving children chlorine dioxide, and from there, I also met up with Amanda and several other advocates, and I just began helping Emma. Emma was really the first one that started looking into this.
Yeah, and we're scrolling through some of these Facebook screenshots that you and Amanda were able to capture when you infiltrated these sites. You sort of acted like one of these desperate parents to sort of gain access to the groups. And Amanda, I know you're joining me now by phone. Thank you for that. We hear about these parents making their kids drink bleach, but you also found other horrific ways they're trying this, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
They are using bleach-based enemas and giving it to them rectally.
Unbelievable. I mean, Melissa, you both have reported these parents, child abuse organizations, the Department of Justice, Children's Services. In many of these cases, you're not hearing back. Do you think anything's being done about this?
No, I don't. I absolutely think nothing is being done about that. I've received several responses from the FDA, none of which are what I wanted to hear.
What'd they say?
Basically, they want me to provide specific details of where the people are selling the products. They want me to do the investigations. This really isn't something that should be resting on the public's back. The FDA is basically, everyone has told me the FDA is the only organization that is responsible for stopping this. They have to be the ones that bring the cases to the Department of Justice. I spoke with the Department of Justice. They've said, we can get involved with this, but the FDA has to lead it. So far,
government red
the
tape,
FDA hasn't.
which is frightening.
Right. Right.
Amanda,
I basically get sent back in circles.
Yeah, when you hear what's at stake here, that is frightening. Amanda, you both have children with autism, and this comes from this desperation of these parents to, quote, cure autism. I mean, what's your reaction to just that?
Personally, I'm autistic myself. So for me, it would mean curing part of who I am, which it's not a disease, not a defect, it's just a difference. And I look at my children, and they're perfect just the way they are. They may need help with speech or fine motor or anything like that, or coping skills, but that's all you do. Support your children the best way you know how to. They're not a burden.
Yeah, I think you make such a great point there. And Melissa, all of these screen grabs, you see people, they're so passionate about it, and they really buy into it. We've seen this with anti-vaxxers. It's like there's no changing anyone's mind. I mean, what do you say when you get on these pages? What do you say? Do you call any of them out?
No, calling them out would blow my cover. Pretty much, I just collect the facts. I do not report anyone that there isn't strong evidence. There has to be strong evidence to bring something like this to Child Protective Services. And once there is strong evidence, and it's not only found in the groups, you can find it on YouTube. There are plenty of parents talking about it on YouTube as well as Facebook.
Tell me what some of that strong evidence is, because in one case I read that you had talked to a mother who gave this to their 2-year-old child who was choking. Gagging, drinking.
I'm not really. Well, there's so many of those. I'm not certain which one you're speaking about. That's pretty common. You might be referring to the one where the lady posted that her son was making gasping noises. That one was reported. That one I never heard back on. Basically, Carrie, she went into this group that we're monitoring, and she reported these symptoms to Carrie Rivera. Carrie Rivera responded that the gasping was normal. It was air hunger caused by Lyme, and that autistics have Lyme, which is false, like most of what she says. A few weeks later, she posted again, how long before it goes away. It's still happening. And this parent, her child's having side effects, and she's, instead of taking this child to the doctor and saying, listen, I've been giving this child chlorine dioxide bleach, both orally and rectally, they don't even do that. Anytime there's an issue, they go back to the group. They rely on other parents who are doing the same protocol, or the moderators. There are several moderators here in the U.S. that are assisting Carrie with helping these parents along with the protocol and responding when there's a kid in distress or a kid with symptoms. They basically go on and say it's normal. It's autism leaving.
Unbelievable. Amanda, have you done your research on sort of where these people are getting this misinformation? What's the source of who's claiming that this is a quote-unquote cure, as we know it's not?
Jim Humble at Genesis 2 Church. He claims that it will cure autism, diabetes. I myself am a type 1 diabetic son, which is it's appalling. Cancer, AIDS, HIV, there's a whole list of ailments he claims that it will cure.
Has anyone reported this guy?
He fled to Mexico. He's in Mexico. It's now the Genesis 2 Church is now being run by a man named Mark Grennan. He's the new bishop in charge. They're in 139 countries. This isn't happening just in the U.S. This is happening all over. Carrie Rivera, that's how she came about promoting this protocol. She, ran into the Genesis 2 Church, and she decided, hey, I'm going to take this and I'm going to promote it for autism. And she did this by, actually today, the Autism One conference is going on. It's led by Jenny McCarthy, which is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Carrie Rivera started this protocol. Carrie Rivera started this protocol at Autism One, Jenny's conference. They taught parents there at the conference how to do this protocol to their children. An injunction was placed on Carrie Rivera there in Chicago, and she fled to Mexico, and she's now in Germany, but it hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
She's communicating with the same following.
Melissa and Amanda, you're doing some really important work. We've talked so many times about people taking matters into their own hands when red tape is out there. Thank you for shining a light on this frightening thing that's happening on social media sites. And I want to bring in a medical expert now, Dr. Jennifer Cottle. She's a family doctor. And Jennifer, I'm sure you're just as horrified as I am when you're hearing these details. Talk to me about just how incredibly dangerous that we know that this is.
So Lynn, horrifying is exactly how I feel. And I want to thank the two ladies that we're speaking with who've done a lot of work and who are helping to bring this issue to light. You know, as a family doctor, I am horrified. And those who I've talked to in the last hour or two about this topic are as well in my healthcare field. You know, this is what I want to say. Chlorine dioxide, just to kind of discuss a little bit about what it is, if you Google it, you'll find that it actually is an EPA, an Environmental Protection Agency approved substance that's actually used in a lot of our public drinking water facilities, et cetera, to make water safe for drinking. We'll also find it in other personal care items that we use every day, and this is approved by the FDA. The issue, though, is that when people are using the substance in ways and in concentrations that it is not approved for, in this particular case, allegedly for the treatment of autism, that is a problem. This is not a treatment for autism. This is not appropriate, and it can actually cause harm to young people or anyone who's using it inappropriately.
What kind of harm? What are some of the effects?
Sure. So it's going to be different for everyone. Of course, it will depend on the concentration that's used and the form of chlorine dioxide, the form that it's sort of taken into the body. But the side effects can range anything from respiratory issues to changes in red blood cells and some of the blood cells on our hemoglobin panels. Sometimes skin reactions or rashes have been reported, and then, of course, GI issues, stomach upset, things like that. Again, it's going to vary depending on the age of the person, their underlying medical conditions, how much is used in the form. But once again, I need to be very clear. Chlorine dioxide is not an approved treatment for autism. It should not be used in this way in any form that is not approved by the EPA or the FDA or other organizations. This is potentially harmful. It's wrong. It's not okay.
Dr. Jennifer Cottle, important information. Thank you for being with us. And let's boil it down for you. And putting aside, as Amanda points out, that autism is not a disease to be cured, it's something to embrace. Rates of autism have been going up sharply over the last decade. 1 in 5 kids have autism. These dangerous alleged treatments have different names. Some are sprays, some are drinks, or as you heard, even an enema. All a mixture that includes chlorine dioxide, bleach. The claim, in addition to autism, it can cure cancer, HIV, or Ebola. Are you skeptical yet? There is no research to support these dangerous claims. Only one fact is established. Chlorine is toxic and therefore dangerous to give to your kids, yourself, or anyone else for that matter. And because the cause of autism has eluded doctors, the cure has as well, leaving some families willing to try literally everything. So why does this all matter? Because misinformation for desperate parents can end up killing kids.